Okay, I want you to close your eyes for a second, just for a moment. Imagine you've just walked out of a building in New York.
Mm.
You step out onto the concrete, and the first thing that hits you isn't a sight. It's not a skyscraper. It's the air.
Oh, yeah.
It's this very specific, uh, heavy cocktail of smells. You're getting a waft of a dollar slice of pizza, that amazing grease and oregano smell.
Best smell.
But it's fighting for dominance with, I don't know, a really expensive French reduction sauce drifting out of some Michelin-starred place right next door.
And underneath all of that, you've got the foundational scent, the warm asphalt, the steam from the subway grates, and yeah, maybe just a hint of garbage that's been sitting out for pickup.
Right, it's not exactly a field of lavender, is it? It's just sensory overload.
Yeah.
Instantly,
Total.
and then the sound hits you. And it's not just noise, it's a frequency. A siren wailing maybe 3 blocks away, a bus kneeling to let passengers off with that hydraulic hiss.
A snippet of a conversation in Spanish?
Then Mandarin, then English, all in like 5 seconds. It's frantic. And for just a split second, you get that feeling, you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
That feeling that locals, like Lauren Paley described in our sources, that you are quite literally at the center of the universe.
That visceral rush.
Yeah.
That's the drug. That is the defining New York moment. It is the hook that reels people in and, frankly, keeps them there, often against their better judgment.
Against their better judgment is the key phrase there. Because today, we're not doing the I Heart NY tourist brochure.
No.
We're not here to tell you to go to the top of the Empire State Building and wave at the camera. We're taking a whole stack of local insights, profiles, honest confessions to really understand the real city.
Yeah, the goal is to move past that glitzy steel skyline and get what it's like to live there, to understand New York like a local.
And that distinction, like a local, that's everything. The experience of a visitor who's standing in the middle of Times Square, just letting the neon wash over them. It is fundamentally different from the experience of the person trying to, shove past them to get to a meeting on 42nd Street.
It's the difference between watching a nature documentary and actually trying to survive in the jungle.
That's a great way to put it. And one of the most fascinating things that came up in the prep for this deep dive is this core contradiction in the New Yorker identity. It's not a love story.
No.
It's it's complicated relationship status.
Complicated is putting it mildly.
There's this analogy that kept popping up describing the city as an unruly problem child.
Yeah.
Which, as a parent, I found both hilarious and terrifyingly accurate.
It is a perfect metaphor. I mean, think about the relationship. Locals will complain about the city incessantly.
Oh, constantly.
They'll talk about the noise, the filth, the fact that a salad costs $20, the absolute cacophony of taxis honking at 3 a.m. when you have a big presentation the next day.
Right.
It is the problem child that wakes you up, it makes a mess, it drains your bank account, and it basically screams in your face.
But then, and this is the key, if someone from out of town, say, a cousin from a quiet suburb, comes in and says, wow, it's really dirty here, what happens?
Oh, the New Yorker snaps. They become incredibly defensive. They will cut you down.
Instantly.
They love that problem child fiercely. They are passionately proud of its chaos. They might hate the day-to-day struggle, but they see that struggle as something that, I don't know, makes them superior.
That's the mission for this deep dive. We want to equip you, the listener, with the grit and the savvy to understand that very relationship. We want you to be able to navigate the city not as a wide-eyed tourist, but as someone who gets the problem child.
We want to give you the know-how to belong. We're going to cover the unspoken rules, which are much, much more important than the written ones, the survival strategies, and the specific neighborhood vibes that really make the city what it is.
So let's get into the people. Section 1, the New Yorker identity. Who are these masochists?
Well, if you're looking for a single archetype, the guy in the Yankees cap saying, forget about it, you're going to be disappointed.
That's a caricature.
It's a complete caricature. The reality, as our profiles show, is that New York is a mosaic. I wouldn't even say a melting pot, because the pieces don't always melt together. They stay distinct, but they fit into a whole.
Okay, let's look at some of the people we read about. Take Lauren Paley. She lives in the East Village. She's a marketer and a writer.
Right. So Lauren represents what you might call the creative professional archetype. Her New York isn't about Wall Street or big finance. It's about the hunt.
The hunt for what?
For authenticity. She's scouring the East Village for the best Thai food. Not the most famous one, not the one with the big sign, but the most authentic one hidden in a basement somewhere.
I know that impulse. It's the search for the hidden gem.
Exactly. She's looking for indie bookstores where the staff might be a little grumpy, but the selection is impeccable. Her life is curated.
It's a very specific vibe.
Yeah.
But then you look at someone totally different, like Brian Polei. He splits his time between NYU and Paris.
Brian is what I'd call the active resident. For him, the city is physical. It's a landscape to be conquered. He's a devotee of the New York Roadrunners.
So his map of the city is different.
Completely. It's not subway lines. It's the 5-mile loop around Prospect Park in Brooklyn. It's about conquering the geography with your own 2 feet. And his reward isn't a fancy martini. It's finding a great Chinese spot after a 10-mile run.
I love that contrast. One is hunting for culture. The other is physically battling the terrain. And then we have our third profile, Quu Olsen in Crown Heights.
Quu is the community builder. He's a software engineer who moved from Toronto, spent some time in the Deep South, and then landed in Brooklyn.
So he's a transplant.
A classic transplant story. And for him, New York isn't about what you can get from the city. It's about what you build within it. He volunteers with high school kids. He hosts these big wine-fueled dinner parties in his apartment.
That feels like such a crucial part of the transplant experience. When you move to New York, you probably don't have family nearby, so you have to build a chosen family, and you have to do it aggressively.
You absolutely have to. And that's what connects these 3 very different people. Whether you're a writer, a runner, or an engineer, you are actively engaging with the city. You are not a passive observer.
So is there a common thread, though, beyond just living there? Because that unruly problem child analogy suggests they all share a certain temperament.
I think it's resilience. That's the baseline requirement. You have to be resilient to deal with the subway crush during rush hour. You have to be resilient to handle the rent.
Which has meant a lot.
It's a lot. But beyond resilience, it's savvy. It's knowing how to work the system, knowing which subway car to get on so you're right by the exit when you arrive. Little things like that.
And if I recall correctly from our notes, there was one oddly specific trait that binds every single New Yorker together, regardless of race, class, or creed.
Yes. They all, without exception, claim to know the best pizza spot in town.
And they're all different spots, right? It can't all be the best.
Completely different. And they will fight to the death over it. You could have a billionaire on the Upper East Side and a struggling artist in Bushwick, and they will bond or argue over whether Joe's is better than DeFara. It is the great equalizer.
That's amazing. Before we get into the mechanics of survival, I want to touch on the visual reality of the city. Because if you only watch movies, especially the rom-coms, New York is all beige trench coats, clean sidewalks, and shiny glass buildings.
That is the Hollywood filter, 100%. The local perspective is much more textured. The phrase that came up again and again in our research is shabby and chic.
And they're right next to each other.
Often side by side on the same block. Give me an example. You might be walking past a brand new glass-walled luxury condo with a doorman, but right next to it is a squat 5-story brick tenement building that hasn't changed since 1920.
And it has those rusty fire escapes crisscrossing the facade.
Which are iconic, by the way. I know they're a safety feature, but visually they define the look of so many neighborhoods.
They really do.
But then you look down and maybe there's a schoolyard emblazoned with incredible graffiti art. The sidewalks are cracked. And there are piles of trash bags on the curb because New York, famously, doesn't have alleyways. It's this constant mix of extreme wealth and gritty decay.
And the locals, they don't seem to mind the shabby part.
I think they embrace it. They see the beauty in the worn-out edges. A pristine, perfect city feels sterile to a New Yorker. They want the rust. They want the history that comes with the grime. It means the city has lived.
Okay, so we've got the mindset. We're resilient, we love pizza, and we're okay with a little bit of rust. Now let's talk strategy. This is the survival guide portion of the deep dive. Because if you don't know what you're doing, the city will chew you up.
It absolutely will. And it starts with the most basic thing. Navigation.
The grid. It's famous. It's supposed to be foolproof.
In theory, it is the greatest urban planning gift ever given to a city. In Manhattan, generally speaking, streets run east and west, avenues run north and south, and the street numbers get higher as you head north or uptown.
So if I'm on 14th Street and I need to get to 42nd Street?
You just go north. It's a coordinate system. You can literally calculate how many blocks you need to walk. It makes this huge, overwhelming city feel manageable, conquerable.
But there's always a but.
There is always a catch in New York. The catch is, once you get below Houston Street or into the West Village or down to the financial district, the grid essentially explodes. It just vanishes.
It's like the planners just gave up?
It feels like that.
Yeah.
The streets start curving. You have West 4th Street intersecting with West 10th Street, which is a geometric impossibility that somehow exists in Greenwich Village.
That sounds like a complete nightmare for a tourist.
It is where the savvy comes in. Locals just know. But for the most part, uptown and midtown, the grid is your friend. But navigating isn't just about direction, it's about velocity.
The walk with purpose rule.
Yeah.
I feel like this is where tourists get yelled at the most.
This is the cardinal sin. New York is a walking city, but you have to understand that walking is transportation, not leisure. The sidewalk is the highway.
So what's the mistake people make? What's the big no-no?
Just stopping dead in the middle of the sidewalk.
To look up at a building.
To look up, to check Google Maps, to have a conversation. Imagine you're driving on a freeway at 70 miles per hour, and the car in front of you just slams on the brakes to look at a cloud. That's what you're doing.
So if I need to look at a map, what do I do? What's the protocol?
You pull over. You literally step to the side against the building line, out of the flow of traffic. If you block the flow, you will get bumped, you will get an eye roll, you'll get a tut, and you might get cursed at.
It's a matter of respect.
It's a matter of respecting the collective momentum. Speaking of maps, one of the interesting tips mentioned using what forwards. I hadn't heard of this being used so much in a city context.
Right.
It's becoming more useful because saying, meet me in Central Park is useless. Central Park is huge. You'll never see your friend again.
It's bigger than the country of Monaco.
Exactly. But what 3 words assigns a unique 3-word code to every 3-meter square on the planet? So the John Lennon Memorial, Strawberry Fields, is frog.thin.above. It takes all the ambiguity out of the chaos.
That's actually brilliant. And the other essential app was MyMTA.
Oh, non-negotiable. The subway is a marvel. It runs 2 more 4/7, which most cities in the world can't claim, but it is also old and incredibly temperamental.
It has a personality.
It has a moody personality. Service changes happen constantly, especially on weekends. You need the app to know if the F train is actually running on the F line today or if it's decided to go on an adventure somewhere else.
Let's talk about being in the subway. It's an intimate environment. You're pressed right up against strangers.
There is a very, very strict social contract in the subway, and it starts before you even get on the train, on the escalator.
Stand right, walk left.
It is the golden rule. If you stand on the left side of the escalator, you are blocking someone who might be late for a job interview or a shift at the hospital. Locals will genuinely appreciate it if you just stand to the right. It signals, I get it, I respect your time.
What about once you're on the train platform?
Let people off before you try to get on. Don't crowd the doors. It's so simple, but people forget it in the rush.
And on the train itself.
Move into the center of the car. Don't just stand by the door. And please, please take off your backpack. If you're wearing a giant hiking pack in a crowded train at 5:30 p.m., you're taking up the space of 2 people. Put it on the floor between your legs.
These are the little things that separate a tourist from someone who belongs.
100%. It's about being aware of your own footprint in a city with no space.
How about payment? We're mostly tapping phones now with the OMNY system, right?
Mostly, yes.
Oh.
OMNY is the tap-to-pay system, and it's great. It's very convenient. But the Metro card is still a thing, and it's useful. If you're visiting for a week, the 7-day unlimited pass for $33 is the best deal in town.
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer.
It lowers the stress. You don't have to think about it. You just swipe or tap and go. You can ride as many times as you want.
And buses. Do people really use the buses?
Buses are great, especially for going crosstown from east to west, because the subway is mostly a north-south system.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the old school catch. If you pay cash on a bus, you need exact change. Coins.
Seriously.
Still. They will not take bills, and the driver will not give you change. It's incredibly archaic.
So that's another reason to just get the Metro card.
It is. Just stick to the Metro card or tap to pay. Don't be fumbling for quarters.
Let's talk about being above ground. Biking. City Bike is everywhere now.
It's a massive, fantastic network, and $15 for a 24-hour pass is a steal. You can see so much of the city. But the guide comes with a very serious survival warning.
Which is?
New York drivers are aggressively indifferent to your existence.
Wow. Aggressively indifferent. That's a scary phrase.
It means they aren't trying to hit you, but they are absolutely not going to slow down for you either. The bike lanes are good, but they get blocked by delivery trucks, police cars, pedestrians.
So you have to be hyper-aware.
Hyper-aware, and the rule is stick to one side of the bike lane. Let the delivery guys on the electric bikes pass you. They are working. You are sightseeing. Do not get in their way. They are the true kings of the road.
Okay, moving from transport to commerce. Money.
Bring lots of it.
Is it really that bad? I mean, we know it's expensive, but
It's expensive, but the culture of spending is very specific, and tipping is the big one.
I know a lot of people from Europe struggle with this because it feels optional there.
It is not optional in New York. It is not a bonus for good service. It is part of the wage. The entire service economy relies on it.
So what's the standard?
You need to be tipping 20% at restaurants, bars, and even for taxis or ride shares. If you buy a $15 cocktail and don't tip, the bartender is literally losing money serving you.
Wow. Okay, and the cash versus card situation, I feel like this is always confusing.
It's a total paradox. You have high-end coffee shops that are completely cashless, cards only, but then you have the best bagel shop in the neighborhood or that grim-looking dive bar that has been there for 50 years, and they are cash only. Strict.
So you need both.
You always need a mix. Have a credit card and at least $40 in cash on you at all times.
One of the things that stresses me out when I'm there is the pace of dining. The source material called it the rush.
This connects right back to the density and the cost of everything. Rents are astronomical. A restaurant cannot afford to have you sit at a table for 3 hours nursing a single cappuccino.
So they want you out.
The wait staff will be efficient. That's a polite way of saying it. They might drop the check on your table before you've even swallowed your last bite of pasta.
That feels so rude to me.
It feels rude if you're from a culture that prioritizes lingering. But in New York, it's just physics. They need to turn the table. Don't take it personally. It's not about you. If you want to linger, go to a park or a bar. Don't do it at a prime dinner table at 7 p.m. on a Saturday.
One last little tip from the guide was about water.
Ah, yes. Cafes will almost always refill your reusable water bottle if you ask nicely. It's a nice little local courtesy.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. We've covered the daily grind, the survival stuff. But the city's personality changes completely depending on when you were there. Let's get into section 3, the seasons.
New York is a true 4-season city, and each one has a totally different personality, a different vibe.
Let's start with spring. The source describes it as a relief.
That is the perfect word. Winter in New York can be brutal. It's not just the cold, it's the grayness, it's the wind tunnels that form between the avenues that just cut right through you.
So when spring hits,
there is a collective psychological exhale. You can feel it on the street. The heavy puffer coats disappear overnight. The parks fill up immediately with people who look like they haven't seen the sun in 6 months.
and it's parade season, right?
It is. You have the St. Patrick's Day parade, which is huge and rowdy. Everyone suddenly claims to be part Irish for the day. And then you have the Easter parade on Fifth Avenue, which is much more elegant. People wearing these elaborate wild bonnets and hats. It's a spectacle.
Then summer hits, and it gets intense.
Electric is the word used in the guide, but sweltering also applies. The concrete and asphalt trap the heat. The smell of the garbage gets a little more pungent.
Appetizing.
But the energy is undeniable. Life moves outdoors. Alfresco dining takes over the sidewalks, the streets. You're eating dinner while people walk their dogs 2 feet away from your plate. It's chaotic, but it's alive.
And the activities get more unique.
Oh, yeah. Outdoor movies. They set up these huge screens in Bryant Park or on rooftops with the city skyline as the backdrop. It's magical. And baseball. Even if you hate sports, going to Yankee Stadium in the Bronx or Citi Field in Queens with a hot dog and a beer is a peak summer ritual.
Then fall. My personal favorite.
It's everyone's favorite. It's the rom-com New York. The air gets crisp. The brutal humidity finally breaks. But we have to talk about the pumpkin craze.
Is it as bad as they say?
It's inescapable. Every coffee shop, every bakery, every brewery is doing something with pumpkin. Pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin donuts, pumpkin craft beer.
But visually, it's the best season.
Oh, visually, it's stunning. Walking through Central Park when the leaves are turning that fiery auburn and yellow against the gray of the buildings, it's just breathtaking. People also use it as an excuse to escape upstate for foliage walks.
And Halloween sounds like a major production.
It's huge. The Village Halloween Parade is a chaotic, creative, incredible mass of humanity. But for a more specific local vibe, the source highlighted the Tompkins Square Halloween Dog Parade.
Please tell me that is exactly what it sounds like.
It is hundreds of dogs dressed in incredibly elaborate costumes. You'll see a corgi dressed as the Titanic or a little pug dressed as a slice of pizza. It's wholesome and hilarious and very, very New York.
Finally, winter.
It's a tale of 2 cities. First, you have the fairy tale, basically from Thanksgiving to New Year's.
December.
Right. The Rockefeller Center tree, the dazzling window displays at Saks Fifth Avenue, which are legitimate works of art, the ice skating rinks. It's beautiful and festive.
And then January hits.
And the reality sets in. The festive lights come down. The snow turns to that gray, dirty slush. We call them slush lagoons. Those deep, icy puddles at the street corners that look shallow but are actually ankle deep.
They're trapdoors of freezing water.
Exactly. So locals retreat. Life moves indoors. It becomes about dinner parties, finding a dark, cozy bar with red wine, going to the movies. It's a quieter, more introspective time.
And a quick but crucial tip on New Year's Eve.
Avoid Times Square at all costs.
Hard pass.
Hard pass. No local goes to the ball drop. The idea of standing in a metal pen for 12 hours without a bathroom in freezing temperatures, it's a nightmare. The local move is a house party or a ticketed event at a local bar with friends. If you want to feel like a New Yorker, stay as far away from Times Square on December 31st as possible.
Okay, that is essential advice. Now, geography time. This is where we really need to get specific because, as the sources say, New York is just a collection of villages.
It really is. You can cross one street and the architecture, the vibe, the people, it all changes in an instant.
Let's start in Manhattan, the heart of it all, specifically downtown in the villages. Let's start with Greenwich Village.
This is the historic bohemian heart of the city. The streets are winding and tree-lined. They're off the grid. It's low-rise, mostly beautiful brownstones. And of course, it's the home of the Stonewall Inn, so it's hallowed ground for the LGBTQ plus community.
What's the social vibe like there?
It's kind of a mix. It's Comedy Central, the Comedy Cellar, and other famous clubs are there. It's got Washington Square Park at its heart, which is essentially a permanent outdoor theater for all kinds of weirdness. Musicians, chess hustlers, protesters, students. It feels very collegiate because of NYU, but also deeply historic.
Okay, now move a little east, the East Village.
Grittier. Definitely grittier. This was the birthplace of American punk rock. The Ramones, CBGB.
That history is still there in the graffiti and the general attitude, even if the rents have gone way, way up.
And what's it known for now?
It's where you go for thrift stores, dive bars, tattoo parlors, and late-night Ukrainian food like pierogies. It feels younger, louder, and a bit more chaotic than Greenwich Village.
And if you keep going east from there, you hit Alphabet City.
Right. Avenues A, B, C, and D. It used to be a really rough no-go zone decades ago. Now the source calls it a hipster haven, but I think it retains a very strong community feel. It has deep Hispanic and Jewish roots.
It's also harder to get to.
That's the key. It's a long walk from the subway, which keeps a lot of the tourists out. It feels like a real neighborhood where people actually know their neighbors.
Lower East Side.
This is the immigrant gateway, tenements. This is where you go for history. The Tenement Museum is an absolute must-visit to understand how people lived in 300 square feet with 10 kids a century ago.
And the food scene there is legendary. It's the spot for Jewish appetizing. You have Resson Daughters for smoked fish, Katz's Deli for pastrami. The whole area just smells like pickles and history.
Let's pivot to something a little shinier, Nolita.
North of Little Italy. This is very chic. It's all narrow streets, very expensive independent boutiques, and people wearing sunglasses that cost more than my rent. It's where you go to see fashionistas and be seen.
And then there's the meatpacking district.
The ultimate urban transformation story. It used to be actual slaughterhouses and meatpacking plants, literally blood running on the cobblestones.
And now?
Now, it's the Whitney Museum, the southern end of the Highline Park, and super high-end clubs where you can't get in unless you're famous or buying bottle service. It's the playground for the very wealthy, a moneyed crowd, as the source puts it.
Okay, let's head uptown, Midtown, and the Flatiron District.
Flatiron is a very busy commercial hub. It's frantic during the day. It's dominated by the iconic Flatiron building, obviously. It's where a lot of media and tech companies are. It's a lunch rush kind of neighborhood.
And Hell's Kitchen.
Just west of Times Square and the theater district. It's basically the dining room for Broadway. After the show's end, the actors and the crews flood into the bars and restaurants here. It's also got a massive and very vibrant LGBTQ plus scene. It's loud, it's fun, and it's relatively unpretentious.
Harlem.
You cannot understand New York without understanding Harlem. It is the spiritual and cultural soul of Black America. The Harlem Renaissance in the 1920s defined music, art, and literature for a generation.
And that legacy is still there.
Absolutely. You still have the Apollo Theater. You have incredible jazz clubs like Minton's Playhouse and some of the best soul food you'll ever eat. And the architecture is grand wide boulevards, beautiful, stately brownstones.
Then we have the classic rivalry, Upper East Side versus Upper West Side.
The great divide of Central Park. The Upper East Side is old money. It's Gossip Girl territory. It's where you find Museum, Mile the Met, the Guggenheim, the Frick. It's very polished, very quiet, very wealthy. Doormen in white gloves.
And the Upper West Side.
It's more intellectual wealth. It feels a bit more academic, maybe because of Columbia University being nearby. It's sandwiched between two huge parks, Central and Riverside. It's filled with families, strollers, and legendary food shops like Zabar's. It feels more lived in, less like a pristine museum exhibit.
We have to cross the river. It's time to talk about Brooklyn.
The borough of kings, and for many, the new center of cool.
Let's start with the big one, Williamsburg.
Williamsburg is the poster child for gentrification. It used to be all factories and working-class families. Now it's luxury waterfront condos with views of Manhattan. It's also a study in contrast. You have the ultra-hipsters on the north side and then the very insular Hasidic Jewish community on the south side, living side by side.
So what's the vibe?
Trendy, lots of rooftop bars, lots of artisanal everything, coffee, pickles, you name it, converted warehouses. It's very young.
Dumbo.
That's an acronym. Down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass.
That acronym always cracks me up. It feels so forced.
It was a branding masterpiece by real estate agents in the 80s. This is where you get that photo, one of the Manhattan Bridge framed perfectly by the red brick warehouses. It's very tech-heavy, very expensive, and home to the Time Out Market food hall. It feels almost manicured now.
Greenpoint.
Little Poland, you can still hear Polish spoken on the street. You can get cheap, heavy, authentic pierogies. But it's changing fast. The gentrification is real. A lot of old school spots are clashing with new organic food stores. It's quiet, a bit hard to get to on the G train, which makes it feel like a secret village. Bedford-Stuyvesant. It has some of the most beautiful and well-preserved brownstone architecture in the entire city. Yeah. It's a historic bastion of Black culture that is thriving. There's a very, very strong sense of community pride there.
And then there's Red Hook. I've heard this place is strange, in a good way.
It's wonderful because it's so isolated. It's cut off from the subway system, so you have to take a bus or a ferry to get there. It feels like a fishing village in Maine that got lost and ended up in Brooklyn.
What's it like?
Cobblestone streets, old shipping warehouses, incredible views of the Statue of Liberty. It's quiet, it's windy, it's home to a great seafood shack. It feels like an escape from the city without ever leaving the city.
Finally for Brooklyn, Park Slope.
The land of the stroller, as they call it. It's beautiful, leafy, filled with cool parents who work in media or the arts. It has the famous Park Slope food coop, which is legendary for its strict rules and politics. It's very comfortable, very liberal, very villagey. It's where families aspire to live.
Okay, we've mapped out the entire universe. Now, what are we doing in these places? Let's talk section 5, the scene.
And we have to start with eating.
Brunch is a sport here, isn't it?
It is a full-contact, competitive sport. It starts at 11 a.m. on weekends, not earlier. And if you see a line around the block at noon on a Sunday, it's probably for Eggs Benedict and mimosas.
The source material specifically mentions Magnolia Bakery.
Right, famous from the Sex and the City show for its cupcakes. Is it touristy? Yes, absolutely. But here's the secret. The banana pudding is legitimately world-class. Locals know to skip the cupcakes and get the pudding.
And Eileen's special cheesecake.
That's the deeper cut. That's the locals' choice. If you want the real New York cheesecake experience, which is different, denser than other cheesecakes, that's a fantastic spot in Nolita.
But the real key to eating like a local is global grub.
Yes, 100%. Don't come to New York City and just eat burgers and pizza.
Right.
Go to Jackson Heights in Queens for Himalayan food. Go to Flushing for the best dumplings of your life. Go to Arthur Avenue in the Bronx for real Italian. The world is here, you just have to taste it.
Right, drinking culture.
Coffee fuels the day. It is the lifeblood of the city. But notice an interesting trend. Some cafes are going laptop-free, at least during peak hours.
Yep.
They are actively trying to force people to talk to each other again.
That's a bold move. And nightlife.
It's a tier system. You often start at a dive bar, cheap beer, sticky floors, a great jukebox. That's the city's living room. Then maybe you move on to a speakeasy.
The source mentioned employees only and Rain's Law Room.
Rain's Law Room is a fantastic experience. It's unmarked. You have to ring a doorbell, you wait, and then they usher you into this plush, dark, quiet room. It feels illicit and special. It's all about the craft of the cocktail.
And we can't forget the LGBTQ+ scene, which is so central to the city's identity.
Absolutely not. Julius in the West Village is a piece of living history. It's where the sip-in happened, a key protest for gay rights that happened even before the Stonewall riots. And then there's Marie's Crisis.
The piano bar.
Yes. You go downstairs into this tiny basement. It smells like old beer and history, and everyone, and I mean everyone, is singing show tunes from Sondheim and Rogers and Hammerstein at the top of their lungs. It is pure, unadulterated joy.
Arts. Broadway is the big ticket.
It's the big ticket, but it's also really expensive. You're looking at $200, $300 for a decent seat. Locals often prefer off-Broadway.
Why is that?
It's cheaper, for one, but also the theaters are smaller and more intimate. The plays are often weirder, grittier, more experimental. It feels more like art and less like a theme park attraction.
Okay, and shopping. Beyond the big department stores.
Books are huge. McNally Jackson in Nolita is the gold standard for indie bookstores, a great place to just get lost. And Housing Works is a fantastic charity thrift shop where you can find designer clothes for cheap, and all the money goes to fighting homelessness and AIDS.
And the ultimate New Yorker accessory, the one thing you have to have.
The tote bag.
Specifically.
A canvas tote bag from a specific bookstore like The Strand, or a museum, or a magazine like The New Yorker. It signals, I read, I'm cultural, and I'm too environmentally conscious to pay for a paper bag. Plastic bags are outlawed, by the way. The tote is the ultimate badge of the local.
We've covered a massive amount of ground. From the specific smell of the streets to the quiet of Red Hook.
We have. It's a lot to take in.
So let's bring it all back to the beginning, back to that unruly problem child.
The core philosophy of The New Yorker.
We've established that New York is hard. It fights you. It takes your money. It pushes you around on the subway.
It does all of that and more.
So here is the question that I want to leave you, our listener, with. We often equate quality of life with ease. You know, an easy commute, a quiet bedroom, a washer and dryer in your unit.
All the things New York very rarely offers.
Exactly. But consider this. Does the difficulty actually create the value? If you didn't have to fight the subway and the crowds and the expense every day, would that moment where you finally sit down with a perfect bagel or you catch a perfect sunset over the Hudson River, would it feel as magical?
That's a great question.
Is the fairy tale moment only possible, only so potent, because you had to survive the nightmare to get there?
I think that is the secret. You earn the city every single day. And because you earn it, because it doesn't come easy, you value it more than anything else in the world.
That's our deep dive. Walk with purpose, keep moving, and for the love of everything, stand to the right.
Please stand to the right.
We'll see you next time.